annual mammogram and should discuss the benefits and limitation of adding an annual screening. Women with high risk profile for developing breast cancer should actually do their MRIs. They said begin screening at 30 and change what you can eat. Exercise, and I like to add vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, even selenium is good for a lot of different cancer. I was listening to a guy who said they're not going to tell you that because listen, it doesn't pay them anything. So selenium is a good thing that you can add. Add some antioxidant. Broccoli is very good. Permanganate, soursop juice we talked about, and consult your MD if you have any concerns. I think at the end there's a little poem that I put together, Josie, if you can find that one. It's very short. Can you read it for me? Can you see? Go ahead, read it for me.
Breast Cancer Poem by Juliet Wilson. This is Breast Cancer Month. Cheers to all survivors. This is Breast Cancer Month. Let us celebrate all our sisters. This is Breast Cancer Month. We pause to give God thanks. This is Breast Cancer Month. Let's bless God with our hands. This is Breast Cancer Month. Let His peace be in our breasts. This is Breast Cancer Month. Let us pause to be still and rest. This is Breast Cancer Month. Let us stop to give Him praise. This is Breast Cancer Month. Let His healing power now amaze.
Amen. God bless you. Thanks for the opportunity. Yes, you have a question?
Yes. If my grandmother died from cancer, or my father died from cancer, as I heard him say that what is in the family stay in the family. Is a must that?
It's not a must that you can get it.
Okay.
I think even my family history, I have a lot of hypertension. My mom died from a stroke. And actually when I had the second kid, I started taking medication. I'm more at risk. So what I have to do is change some of the things in my life, right? You can eat healthier because you know you have a high risk. So you have to watch what you're eating. People who grow up on the farms and they eat a lot of steak and potato, they're at higher risk for getting like colon cancer, even breast cancer. The milk also has casein in there. It can also give you risk for breast cancer. So if you have a family history of something, it means that you know now that you've got to get educated and you're going to change some stuff that they did in your family line. Okay? Maybe it's what they eat when they're growing up. You know, I always said from the islands, we eat anything to survive, to get those kids up and out the door till they can function for themselves. And not everything is good, you know? Or if they were eating fresh fruits, vegetables, and all the stuff that they grow from the earth, that's very good. But now in our society, that may not be the same. So whatever exposures you have, whatever you can do to curb that risk, then you can go ahead and do it. Maybe they prayed, maybe they didn't pray as much. Like in my case, my mom and dad, they weren't really praying folks. They were Catholics. My mom shows up in the church once a year, and the priest is coming by, and she dropped down like, "Yeah, Lord, forgive me of my sins." And we watched her, but at home, she would be praying, you know, nobody could stop her, even though she's not doing the right thing. You know, but she was a staunch prayer warrior. And so we've got to do some things differently. I have to change some things. I noticed she eat a lot of those salty noodles when she was around. You tell her about the blood pressure, she had multiple chances. But if God gives you a chance and you make no changes, then you're going to die early. That's just simple as it. My people perish for lack of knowledge. If you know this is doing some damage to yourself and you keep doing it, that's called insanity. So we've got to make some changes when we can. God gave you a little opportunity in the pandemic to have Juliet now come and share with you and open your eyes to certain things. So what are you going to do with the knowledge? Just sharing and hearing it will do nothing. I challenge you to not just be a hearer of the word, but to be a doer of the word. You had another question?
So, like my mother died from a stroke.
Yes.
She'd been sitting in the wheelchair for 26 years before.
Okay.
So at that time, with me now, you're saying that I have to watch what I eat and stuff because I could risk of that.
You have a higher risk of getting a stroke, just like myself. I have a higher risk. And a lot of it too, for me, would be the stress. You know, I was here raising those children. I don't have grandma and grandpa to help me with nothing. So I have to go to my 12-hour work. The kids get sick. I got to fit all of that stuff in. I was glad when I finally found a lady who would come 6 months and help us out. And that was on my prayer list. Lord, give me a van for the children. God, send me someone who can help me out. And I put those on the prayer list and it helped me a bit. But my job in itself is a very stressful job. There's nothing much that I can do to curb that. So what I have to do now, after I've worked maybe 2 or 3 of those long hours, the next day, I'm trying to learn from my husband. He would just sit right there and louse around, as he would call it, right? My husband, 9 o'clock or so, he would go to his bed. I'm up 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and then go to work. So there's some things that I need to change. I need to get adequate rest. If I'm not getting adequate rest, what am I doing? Put more stress on my body, okay? And we know, in particular for African American living in this country and Hispanic, you are constantly being stressed. So you have more hypertension, you have more diabetes, you have cancers, all these diseases because of the stress that you've been through for years and years and years. So yes, we've got to take some precautions so we don't end up the same. But you may have met better opportunities than your parents did as well. So that will help to delay that risk.
So stress will contribute to it.
Of course.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Stress of the job, stress not having enough money to pay the bills, you're there worrying, you get anxious, your blood pressure goes up, and then it's not being managed, you didn't go to the doctor, you didn't do anything to change that situation, then you end up stroking out. Okay? So yes, a lot of stress will add to many things. Anybody else have questions?
Low immune system also.
Yeah, low immune system, but all that stressor will reduce your immune system. Yes, question?
Yes. This cancer awareness week, I was listening.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about breast cancer on a whole.
Right.
Could you say something about cancer in men, particularly colon cancer? Men normally get a screening for colon cancer. I didn't hear you say nothing about that one.
Yes, because we're focusing on the breast. But there, I mentioned earlier the young man that died recently from colon cancer, who made that movie. Some of you young ones may remember.
Yeah, Black Panther.
Black Panther, right, yeah. And he died pretty early, at 40 years old. I was shocked. You know, I have friends who, they have polyps in their colon. So they go and they get checked out year out. Check out early. Early detection will reduce your chances of dying early. Because you can treat at an early stage. It's just like people who have cancer on a whole. Sometimes they would not go to the doctor and they play around until it gets to the next stage and the next third stage and the fourth stage, and they can't do anything for you at that point. So if you realize that there's any problem like polyps, they can take those things out and you have a higher risk of staying alive. Yes.
I myself, I'm also a nurse, but since you are here talking about breast cancer and the different cancers, one of the things I'd like you to do is to also encourage men about prostate cancer. Because men have a stigmatism about them. They don't want to get digitally examined because they are, it's just a stigma.
Yeah.
But they need to be examined for prostate cancer too, because it's also a leading cause of death.
Amen. And that's a good point. We deal a lot with the women in the breast, few men with breast, but prostate cancer, you can actually look at your PSA levels and have the doctors check, allow them to do it. You know, you feel uncomfortable, especially from the island. I don't want anybody messing around with me down there, but it's important for you to take your precautions and do your examinations at the doctors to help to prevent yourself. Like I said, cancer can show up anywhere. It could be in any of our organs. And since that's one of the key areas that men pride, make sure you get it checked out.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you can continue to function. Anything else? Thank you, sister, for mentioning that.
I heard you mention about men can also get breast cancer.
Yes.
But I think where the breast, that would have to really protect cancer.
No, you do have breasts, right? It's
but-
not as big as mine. But you do have a breast. And especially if you have a history, yes, you can. And you see some of those chubby guys too with these big breasts. You wonder, is that a man or a woman? So men do have breasts as well, and it's set up similar to us. You don't give the baby any suck from the breast, but you have some of those same structures there.